Hi boys and girls. Today's our lesson is on how to make a paper sculpture in 3 dimensions. We could make any kind of sculpture out of paper, but we are going to make a sculpture for your head. You'll see some examples. My daughter might be wearing one, or you might hear her in some of our art videos. So follow along, gather some fun materials, and I hope to see yours. Hi boys and girls and parents, I want to warn you ahead of time, this one takes a little bit of prep work, but it looks really amazing when it's done. So for the sculpture for your head, you're going to need a base for your sculpture. So parents, you can either find as thick of possible paper and cut some strips, and this you could glue, tape, or staple together for the adults. This works really well if you get a paper plate, fold it in half, and then cut along the line there. That will work as a base for the sculpture. The other materials you will need are some strips of paper. But as long as they're all about the same size, it should be fine. These are around an inch or so. I just go down the sheet of paper, or you can eye it if you want, if the pages are already the same size. You can use magazines, old magazines if you want, and then a glue stick would probably suffice. The hat would just be a little more wobbly. If you use regular paper, you probably want to use some sort of Elmer's glue or wet glue. That will be a little bit messier and take a little bit more patience, but that will hold up pretty well. So parents, you'll just need the scissors. After that, the kids, once you have the hat part made, the kids should just need their strips of paper and their glue and their imaginations, and then they can go to town. Last bit, parents, you might need to help with, is to make 2 arches to go across for the base, and this might require some tape or staples to help keep it in place, and from then on they can start building. Here is the cutting part of the project. You can use whatever paper you have available to you, but you want it to all be the same size. If you have plain white computer paper, you can use that. If you have construction paper or colored paper, you can use that. If you have an old magazine that has pages in it that you can tear from, you can use that. Carefully cut along the edge or tear them out. We want our strips of paper to be as long as possible, so we're going to put the paper vertical. Okay, I'm going to use the magazine strips for this one, and it helps if the strips are all the same length. So if you have a ruler or something that's shaped like a ruler, a paint stick, and you can mark them all off. I just traced this the size of the ruler. Then I move this over so the ruler is on this line. Trace. You may have to have an adult help you with this part, or get the strips of paper ready or prepared for you. A magazine is thin enough that I can cut through a couple at once, do the magic trick, tap them, make sure they're all nice and straight, and then cut along that line. You are now done with the scissors. Here is your challenge. Using just glue, and your strips of paper create your sculpture. First, I would take the strips of paper to make lots of different designs. I have some examples following this. You may have to hold the glue and paper for a minimum of a long 5 seconds, if not more. Accordion fold. Flip it. Fold it. Flip it. Fold it. Flip it. Fold it. Flip it. Fold it. Curling. Hold it tight. Roll it up. This works better with a stiffer paper. Teardrop, a raindrop, just a dot, not a lot. Hold for at least 5. A loop. Or like a circle. Mine's a little bent. A heart. Put some glue in the middle there. Pinch the bottom. And you have a heart. The possibilities are endless. I'd love to see some of the ideas you can come up with. If you keep folding in and in and in and in, you could glue this to make a square or a diamond or a triangle. But whichever folding shapes you decide to do, I would try and make a bunch of them. I recommend making a whole bunch of some of the same things and then thinking about how you can connect them together. This reminds me of flower petals, or maybe I could put it like this somehow. Wheels, another flower. These look like waves. And then think about how you're going to connect them. You can't attach, looks like a fountain. You cannot attach things like this very easily with glue. You'd put the glue here and here, and it's not going to stick on very well. You need to connect things to different flat sides, and then here's where the important patient part comes in. Put your dot, and then hold it, and then you have to count to like 5. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, and see if that works. The glue is wet, so it might slide around a little bit, unless you're using a glue stick. If you use a glue stick, I would use a little bit thinner paper, but the Elmer's glue works better with thick paper. Next part of this project is attaching things onto your sculpture, and this is where a lot of problem solving is going to happen. So you might start adding things on and all of a sudden it starts tipping over. That's the kind of thing that sculptors deal with all the time. They have to use their brains and figure out, okay, how can I balance this? How can I make it stay so it's not going to fall apart?
I like your hat.
It's not a hat, it's a sculpture for your head.
Silly me.